Welcome back to another advanced tactics video. Today I'm going to show you something actually really cool, fun, and kind of dynamic, and it really mixes up the Flashpoint campaign's formula quite a bit. We have a ground search radar unit right here, and it has like emissions. So something that's cool that I haven't really seen in any other video, or at least talked about, is how ground search radar is useful during low light, low visibility scenarios. So as you see, it's daytime, it's overcast, it's heavy rain, and visibility is at around 500 meters. We also have a Patriot battery system over here that has emissions as well. And we're going to kind of talk about general emissions in general. So like how units are detected by ground search radar, how they're just detected by other units, because there is like electronic emissions that are emitted. We're going to say emitted a lot. And so let's dive right on in. Let's just come over to emissions. I'm not sure why there's not a hotkey for it, which is kind of funny. And as you see, our Patriot battery right here, the SAM system, surface-to-air missile system, is emitting at quite a lot. And then if we come over to our ground search radar, it's also emitting as well. So if we were to actually toggle this unit on and off, so what that does is it turns it off, and then if we come back in, we can turn it right back on. And so let's say we have our Patriot battery selected, and the enemy's conducting a surface-to-air mission, or like a SEAD, suppression of enemy air defenses, and it's something you're like predicting, or you spotted like a recon vehicle, and it's just like a threat. You can actually deactivate your emissions and kind of negate the surface to that SEAD mission and make it a bit more difficult. So that's just something I wanted to highlight as well. And then over here, we can kind of keep this one. This unit will be a bit more detectable if it is emitting things. But when I was speaking to one of the devs, he said it's probably just best practice to keep the emitters on. But anyway, so let's dive right on into this. So there are actually enemies on this battlefield. So we're going to turn emissions off real quick. And so let's do that. Actually, we're going to leave it on. I want to leave it on right now because I want you to see what happens when a unit enters your radar and then what happens when we turn it off. So right now, remember, our view is only 500 meters, so basically 1 hex. So with our ground search radar active, we are able to see these things. So all these units are visible because we have that radar active at this time. So once we turn it off, they're going to disappear. I'm going to show that to you here in a moment. And it's just going to show you the effectiveness of a ground search radar in a low visibility and low light situation. So it's technically our turn at this moment in time. We've identified a few hostile units. As you see, there's an enemy air defense, some mechanized units, as well as some armored vehicles. So if we come on and we turn off and we de-energize our emitters, so we can also see that over here. If we come over to subunits and we can see electronic warfare emitters, ground search radar, limited, is not energized. So when we toggle this next turn, let's see what happens. They all vanish. So it's a really powerful piece of equipment, as you see. When it's powered on in a low light situation right here. When we come over here, let's see if we can track down the weather report. Just heavy snow, right? Heavy snow, heavy precipitation, vision 50 to 500, 51,000, illumination 35. So basically, we're just operating in a really low visibility area. So when we turn our ground search radar back on, it's going to re-illuminate all those targets. We're going to be emitting again, which means we're going to be a bit more visible to the enemy units. And then it's just going to allow us to re-identify them to call in artillery, airstrikes. We can see them. They can't see us sort of situation. So let's just watch them reappear. And as you see, they do reappear. And I find it's actually really cool. It like gives me a lot of ideas for like scenario design. If we wanted to like move this SAM battery up, we could. And then we could toggle that on and off. Basically, there are not too many negatives to emitters, at least not in the casual version. In the pro version, obviously you do want to toggle those on and off, but we do not have access to the pro version. And then it really opens up how you want to approach a scenario. If you want it to be like more dynamic, more military, or more tactical, having that ground search radar is really going to open up a lot of possibilities. It is kind of reliant on line of sight. So if we bring up our LOS real quick and we go into like our line of sight tool, as you see, we do have a lot of line of sight right here. So if we were to move this unit, we'll kind of obstruct that line of sight. So if we come over here and we just say move, we'll just say move deliberate or whatever, and just kind of get behind this building, or not building, but this block of dirt right here. It kind of gets obstructed by like physical things. I'm not sure how buildings affect the ground search radar. And see, when we move up there, it basically blocks our ground search radar almost 100%. So if we go back over and we recheck our line of sight, we would be able to see units over here. But once we come back around, if we were to move like deliberate one more corner with our ground search radar still active, we're going to move this hostile thermal unit as well, or this Bradley as well. I want to cancel screen. There he goes. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing at this moment in time, so we're just going to turn that off. So we're going to set him up. He's going to move into position and kind of get line of sight, and we'll attempt to scout for him. So if we can kind of get this unit into position, and honestly, we can kind of expose ourselves a bit more, because remember, like, visibility is like 500 to 1,000 meters. So basically 2 hexes right here, 2 hexes over here, 2 hexes over here. So we're still operating without visibility at this range. So let's just see how that kind of works as well. So let's see if we can move up to this hillside, move fairly quickly, and see if we're identified during that movement. So we're just going to run some turns real quick. Weather is updated, illumination 100%. So let's recheck our weather. And then right there, as you see, we are beginning to spot units. So see, once we got that physical presence out of the way, our line of sight was resituated, and it technically allows us to see them again. However, I mean, we do have an emitter on, so once we toggle that back off, it's not just like that land mass itself that's stopping us from seeing. It's everything in general. So that emitter really boosts our range. So we're going to turn it back on and see how we can operate with this Bradley. If we bring it into position and we can kind of scout for these units and maybe get some combat going. So we're going to assault up to this position as well. This unit's going to get line of sight, and we're going to see what we can do. And let's see if we can get some rounds down range. So everything starts reappearing. We're attempting to scout for these units. So let's see what happens. Those units are in position. This unit may not have direct line of sight. So as you see, it can detect this unit. But one thing that may be a bit off at this moment in time, if we go to the subunit or the SOP manager, is we can say maximum range, apply to units of this type. We're going to say yes. And so we're going to start hopefully putting some rounds down range. Let's readjust this SOP as well. And we're going to say maximum range, apply to this unit. So let's continue to see what happens. See if we're good like a couple thousand meters away. So we may need to move closer here in a little bit, but let's see. Let's see what happens if we move like one more closer. And let's just see if we can kind of combine some forces here, do some combined arms tactics, and see what kind of damage we can do. Let's get within range of everyone and kind of make everyone have a bad time. All right, another unit. Continuing to admit, continuing to identify, spot, and we're moving up as well. Let's see what we can do. Identify, classify, detect. Unit range is currently set to maximum range, relocate never, and let's just say remove all tactical initiative from him. And let's just see what we can do. See if we can combine these forces. They may not ever engage because maybe they cannot see them, even though this unit's spotting for them. It may not be in their command chain. So I'm not gonna I didn't like set it up completely to be super duper effective, but let's see. So we could obviously like see what this unit was spotting, like enemies sighted by this unit. So he can actually see all these units as well. He can see these units as well because he has thermals. If we go into the subunit inspector, we can see that he has thermals as well. So we could just be slightly out of range. Let's take a look at our weapons, like a 3,500 millimeter range, 1,200, 3,750. So if we pull up our range rings, we can truly figure that out. And let's do our spotted by range rings. And so spotted, let's zoom out, and let's just close a few things real quick. Let's turn line of sight off. Let's turn rolls off, and basically spottable max is just giving us all our range just to see. So we should be okay. And then this unit as well, spotting. So he needs to move forward here in a moment. Let's see what he does. I just want to see if they do take effect, if they will start engaging. They possibly may not. So let's just see. Especially as they move closer, they still, all right, we've identified a tank. So that unit's definitely a major threat right now. All right, let's close that. Slight, do or die, maximum range, relocate never, inch drive breach, and we're going to say support passengers. We're just going to keep adjusting it. It's really up to the computer to make the decision when to fire. We don't have really like a lot of that micro control, and these are primarily recon units, so there may be conflicting logic. That. And we'll run one more scenario here in a moment just to see if he picks it up. Because we're not going to assault ever into that position. We're just going to hold and screen. Yep, we're going to continue to screen as well. And let's just see what we can do. So it took a while, right? They can finally spot them, see what we see. This guy's kind of providing us with information. I'm not exactly sure why he took so long to engage, but man, he suddenly, like, what the heck? Bro, look at all of them ATGMs he put down range. He's still going. Moves into that identification zone. We got two, what are those? 2 tanks destroyed with our toes? Jesus. I don't think I've ever seen a Bradley just dump that many ATGMs out. God, what an ATGM firestorm, bro. Could you imagine? And that guy can't really return fire because he doesn't know anything. So that's just something we're subjected to. Like, we don't get to designate exactly which targets they're going to engage at the time. It's just how the game plays. I just want to see key ammo. Bro, did you see how many ATGMs he put down range? Jesus Christ. So that's wild. He missed a lot, though. So at least the ground search radar allows us to spot units, and our thermals allows us to engage. And then once the logic kind of came through and they decided to start firing, it did start engaging. But like I said, we can't really force the computer to do too much. But beyond that, I mean, the ground search radar is just a really effective weapon to identify units and coordinate attacks and allow you to get into position to engage them. So hopefully we can explain this and maybe create like a tactics video on it and kind of see how we can combine these two weapon systems to create a coordinated assault and kind of oppress and destroy the enemy. Obviously, the ground search radar is going to be great for spotting for artillery. So if we had like a significant amount of artillery, if we kind of just wanted to recon this position with our forward observers, and then once we identified them, we can saturate this area with either MLRSs, nuclear warheads, surface-to-surface missiles, airstrikes, all kinds of weapon systems. So it's just definitely a powerful tool to have in your toolbox, and it's something you need to understand and understand how to use. Right? We can all learn. And then obviously the SAM battery does emit as well, and that's primarily going to be your surface-to-air weapon system, and you're going to need to manage it just in case there is suppression of enemy air defenses, which will be more of a PBEM sort of scenario. Anyway, quick video hopefully, and I'm glad we got to see some combat. That's always a plus. All right, like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, guys.